folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Wanted to talk a little bit more about something that I kind of glazed over this week in talking about news, but it's extremely important. We get focused so much on other things that are important, you know, Russia, China, supply chains, food availability, all these things are important, they're legitimate. But this is something that I think sometimes gets missed. It's not exciting, and a lot of people think it's just so far off that we just don't need to think about it right now, and that is this digital currency stuff. Because I think it's a lot closer than you might think. Just a couple of days ago, it was announced the pilot program for the digital dollar. The Federal Reserve is working with, I believe it's 10 banks. Who knows, it may be more, but I believe it was 10 banks that signed on to this pilot program that for the next 12 weeks, they will test out the new CBDC. That's a pretty big deal. It's gotten to that point right now. It was just a few weeks ago that the Fed announced their Fed Now program, which was kind of the infrastructure for the digital dollar. There's a real big push globally for this to happen. Virtually all of the nations, especially the globalist nations, that have signed on to the Great Reset Plan and the Agenda 2030, which is just about all of them. They have all agreed that this is the way to go, that this is the way that the future is in the market and economies, is this digital dollar. And it's a pretty scary thing, and I don't think that a lot of people have stopped and long enough and wrapped their head around it. I know some of you have. Some of you know very much what it is and what it's capable of. But unfortunately, too many people, well, they focus on the here and the now. They focus on what's happening right now. And the things that are happening right now is economic problems, weather, the very possibility of a world war, within the days and weeks ahead. And so this idea that, well, 6 months from now we may have a digital dollar if it all works out to their plan, that just seems like too far off and too much to worry about. I'm telling you, in my opinion, this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing. Many of you, and you're not, I don't think you're wrong. I'm just saying that not everybody feels this way, but most of you probably would agree that this is part of the beast system. I mean, it's interesting that in the Bible and Revelation it talks about this mark, and some people say it's a physical mark on your body. Some people say that was an analogy. It doesn't really matter. It talks about how you can't buy and sell and be involved in commerce without this. And this digital currency is lining up to be that thing, or be part of that system. Not that thing, but part of that system. We're moving towards that mark, and it's no pun intended, that to be at a place where you don't have the freedom to do as you want when it comes with your money, that you'll be controlled. A lot of people don't fully understand that this digital dollar, it's not a decentralized cryptocurrency, okay? It's not like all these cryptocurrencies that's having problems right now. This is something that the Federal Reserve, the U.S. government, they will strictly control, and those are two separate entities. They will strictly control, they will control its value, they will control the value of your money, specifically. So your money may be worth more or less than my money. They will tell you what you can spend it on. It's almost like having an allowance and being dictated of what you can do with it, where you can do with it. This is a big deal. They can turn it off at a moment's notice. Yesterday, this G20 summit is going on. We've talked about that. Yesterday, all the nations at the G20 summit, they signed on to a declaration that they would pursue digital identification for the thing, not just the thing that's happened over the last, but all future things for international travel. So if you travel internationally, it's going to happen. They all made a pledge that they would enact that type of legislation, that there would be some type of digital identification, and that would be connected to a passport with the getting all those things up to date so that you can travel around. This is all part of the system, okay? It's all connected. You know, digital identification that they control, putting things in your body that you have no control over, using currency, using money, using something to transact that you have no control over. There's a very distinct pattern here, folks. Also, this week at the G20 summit, and I mentioned this yesterday, Klaus Schwab spoke. He's kind of not been front page news for a while, you know, again, Russia and all that kind of stuff, China, Taiwan. But he made this powerful speech that the world needs to be restructured. That's what they're doing. They're restructuring the world, and that it's not going to be smooth and easy. There's going to be problems along the way. There's going to be collapses. I mean, he didn't say those words specifically, but he definitely alluded to that it's going to be a bumpy road. You can't take the whole world and all of its nations and the structure and completely change that, completely spin it around on its head and not expect that there won't be problems. And so they know that, they accept that. And when you're talking on this level of stuff, we're talking lives lost, lives ruined. And they don't care because it's part of their plan. It's part of their global takeover plan to rule the world, all one together, one religion. We've been hearing a lot about that lately and seeing results of that. One currency, one everything. This big unified kumbaya global government is what they're pushing for. This isn't new. This has been going on for decades. But they're finally getting to a point that they can start putting it into action. The technology is there, the condition, the mental condition of the people are just ripe. 50 years ago, if they were pushing this, there would have been enough people that had enough intelligence and fortitude and strength and everything to say, no, we're not doing that. But now people are so, they're just not there in the head. I was talking to a friend yesterday about, he had a dealing with someone out in public. Him and his wife were at a store, and this woman was just crazy. He said she just went insane. We're seeing that a lot. We're seeing that a lot all over online. We're seeing it in stores. We're seeing it everywhere. And I think that's obviously for a purpose. I think it's been done for a purpose. It isn't just a coincidence that there's so much, emotional and mental insanity going on in the world. It's all part of their plan. And so is this digital currency. Again, they said that this pilot program is going to last 12 weeks, and then from there, it'll start going. The big announcement that they had made a few months back is that by May of 2023 is when they hope to fully enact it. Now, will that be that you use that, or will it be used on a banking corporate level? It's still unclear at this point. But the fact is it's moving forward. And folks, this is a bad deal. There will probably, I'm going to guess, I'm going to assume that there's probably going to be a transition period to where you can opt out, to where you can use alternative currencies, gold, silver, barter, trade, things like that. But at some point, it's very likely at some point that they're going to crack down on everyone. And that's all you can use. That's all you can use. How long that will be, I don't know. I can't tell you. But I can tell you this. In my opinion, the U.S. dollar, the current U.S. dollar, it's already started its death walk. Okay? If you look around the world at all the things that's happening between the petrodollar, it being knocked off as the petrodollar, at least that's in play. Global reserve currencies, like the BRICS currency rising up. All these central banks, buying up all the gold and silver they can. The cryptocurrencies are really having a lot of problems. Everything is lining up for this digital currency. And this is devastating. You're not going to be able to do the things that you want. You're going to be completely controlled. What you spend your money on, where you spend your money, travel, giving money to your children, You know, your children do some chores, you pay them. Yard sales, secondhand type transactions, just individuals doing business with each other. You know, I sell my lawnmower to my next door neighbor, or I buy his chainsaw, things like that. It's going to become either difficult or very, very, very intrusive, because then they'll be able to say, well, now we have tracked absolutely 100% of all your spending and your income, and so now we can tax you differently. So, you know, the money that you made from selling your lawnmower to your neighbor, now they know that. They'll be able to tax that. They'll be able to control what you do with your money. You want to go stock up and say, hey, we've saved up $500 and we're going to run to the store and we're going to buy $500 of food for storage. No, they may not let you do that, because they'll control how much. This is already in play in certain countries that's doing the digital currency, that's a little bit ahead of us. So it's not a stretch to say that we will get to that point too. Firearms, ammunition, things like that. They're already monitoring that. They've worked out deals with the credit card companies to set it all up in place. So it's like the stage is being set for all of this, folks. And it's not that far away. This is why I promote self-sufficiency. This is why I promote communities, so that communities can work together and find alternatives. They can barter and trade amongst themselves. Other than that, there's not a lot of other options. There is one, and I'm not here, this isn't a commercial for it, it's just something that I've gotten to find out, and I don't make any kind of money off of it. But there is an organization, it's a bank, but it's not a traditional bank. It's the only bank that's not part of the Federal Reserve System, because all of their holdings is in gold and silver. You can look them up online. They've got some little videos on their website to explain what they are, but it's a legitimate bank. You can get a debit card and purchase things with it. But everything that you have is held in gold. It's called UPMA, United Precious Metals Association. Very legitimate, above board kind of organization. And like I said, you send them Federal Reserve dollars, they convert that to gold or silver, and they have it in their vaults in your name. And then you can actually have a debit card, just like what you have in your wallet already, and you can purchase things anywhere off of that gold and silver that's sitting in the bank. So there are options like that. But at some point, it's very likely that even those options would be cut off. We don't know how big this beast system is going to get. I mean, according to the Bible, for those of you who follow that, it's going to get pretty bad and big. But the main point of this video today is to express to you the things that are happening kind of in a way behind the scenes. I mean, you can find out in the news about, this 12-week pilot program, or the digital passport thing that the G20 signed, and all that kind of stuff. But it's hard to find. It's certainly not front page news. These things are happening. A lot of people have commented or sent me messages, hey, you haven't talked about the Great Reset in a while and stuff. Well, it's still going on. It's not front page news, it's still going on. And we need to continue to be ready for that. Because I think at this point, it's inevitable. I could be wrong on that, but my gut feeling is telling me at this point it's inevitable. And that's why we have to push so vigorously to be as self-sufficient as possible, to be as prepared, not just have a bunch of cans of food in your closet, but to really pursue this endeavor of self-sufficiency, because this digital dollar, it's going to be very pervasive. It's going to affect every aspect of our lives. And we need to be able to handle our own as much as possible. That's not going to take care of all the problems, but it's going to make things a little bit better for you. Small communities working together, another big asset to have with this digital dollar. This is an absolute war against us, against the people. They want to control our means to exist. The money that we use to transact business and to stay in this life. They want absolute control over it. And it very much looks like that's what they're doing. Folks, it's time now more than ever to get your houses in order, to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.